Prix.
Hello and welcome to the pre-race press conference of the 2024 Misano E-Prix. For our team principal press conference, joining us are Cyril Blais from Maserati MSG Racing, Tommaso Volpe from Nissan Formula E, and Sylvain Filippi from Envision Racing. Cyril, let's start with you, because this is, of course, the home race of the brand, Maserati. And thinking about it, following, after this, a home race for MSG, following that, a home race for Max. So you're in a nice little cluster here. But talking about Misano, coming in this weekend, great win in Tokyo, spirits must be very high.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, coming back from a win, it's always give you a good feeling. A lot of satisfaction for the team. Glad to give a reward to all the boys and girls from MSG Maserati for all the hard work and capitalize on that on a great result. So for sure, spirits are high. We're hungry for more, but at the same time, I tell all the boys and girls to keep the foot on the ground, because you know that in Formula E, consistency is what makes a successful season, and then the hero of one weekend can quickly become the zero of the next weekend. So for sure, we take that as a high motivation, and I still want to strive because the base is there. Every weekend we'll be fighting at the front, but the big thing is putting a weekend together that brings you the results. So for sure now, being in Misano, home race for Maserati, for sure we want to deliver good results, followed by a home race for the team in Monaco, and like you mentioned, to make the trio home race for Max. So obviously I will try to bring some good results for the next 3 races as well.
You say that hero to zero, but in terms of consistency, there's been quite a lot of it from the Maserati camp. You know, Max is one of 2 drivers to have scored in every single race so far this season. But it does seem as if Brazil, Sao Paulo, was a real turnaround with some of the changes in the car. It seems like the trajectory from there is looking very good.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think we started in Mexico with a top 3 position in qualifying. I think with a slightly better strategy, we should have been on for a podium. But for sure, Sao Paulo was a turning point. We keep improving our package, understanding of the car, what the driver needs. And I think since Sao Paulo, we've been fighting in the top 3. Like I said, there will be a point when you've got a slightly off weekend, but the target is on a good weekend you're fighting for podium and wins, and on an off weekend you're fighting for points. And that's the clear target for us, and for Max in particular, is to be scoring every weekend, no question asked.
So just in a word on the very specific set of challenges of the races this weekend here in Misano being very different to street circuit racing. Do you feel like with those differences you're able to replicate the competitiveness that you've shown so far?
Yes, I think this weekend the challenges are going to be a little bit different, especially on Saturday. Everybody knows that energy is going to be very energy sensitive. It's going to be a peloton race, so you're going to have to be smart, and strategically you're going to have to be very switched on. But as you mentioned, I think the first 5 races will be more or less competitive every weekend, and we've been to very different track, from low grade, high grade, low speed, high speed. So I think we can be competitive in every track. It's just a matter that the challenges are slightly different in this circuit, especially in terms of energy. So we know we very fast on the 1 lap pace, race pace wise, and we're okay, but there's margin to improve to catch the top guys. So feet on the ground, we do the work, and hopefully we can deliver the result.
Got every chance of success. Thank you. Tommaso, moving on to you. In terms of form and momentum, there aren't many, if any, with more than Oliver Rowland. 2 pole positions so far this season, 3 podiums in a row. You must be delighted with how this season has been progressing so far.
Well, yeah, for sure. We hope it doesn't stop here. And actually, he was good also the first 2 races during the race. It's just that we mismanaged qualifying, so it was in a way we didn't put him in a position to qualify well. So it was not a surprise that the moment we fixed the way we were managing qualifying, he could perform very well on track during the race. And so we hope that we continue this momentum with him, and of course we also hope that we start scoring more regularly points with Sasha.
So just to follow up there with Sasha, what can you tell us about in this season? Because he hasn't quite shown the same pace that we saw, especially in qualifying last season, and has only scored points in one of the races so far. Are you expecting to see, a step up in performance for him to get closer to Oliver, as of this weekend?
Yeah, for sure. It's just a matter of time. Probably it's just he has to put everything together, and it's also psychologically. The team is different this year. We have improved a lot in terms of organization. There is so much going on in the preparation to the race, so probably he has to adapt a little bit better. But he has talent. He's shown last year, the first half of the season was impressive, being a rookie. So I'm sure he will come back and he will help us to score regularly with both drivers.
So just to touch upon the package, Nissan package, the powertrain seems very competitive and much more able to fight against the likes of the Jaguar powered and the Porsche powered that dominated a lot of last season. But do you think, with everything we talked about with Cyril, this circuit, the same performance is possible to replicate?
Well, I hope so. I hope to do the opposite as Maserati did in Tokyo in our home race. But it's going to be challenging for sure because it's more energy sensitive and there is a gap there between us and the top packages for sure. So probably we have to put an extra effort in the strategy and how to manage the race. Qualifying we should be good, but the race is going to be very challenging.
Eyes on the fourth podium in a row?
Hopefully, and fifth as well.
Sylvain, moving on to yourself. Now, it's often much harder to defend a championship title than it is to fight for one. And it feels as if this season you might be experiencing that. Team currently 8th in the standings, 9th in the drivers, and 9th and 10th in the drivers. Give us your take on the season so far.
I think what you've seen is definitely the competitiveness of the cars is getting closer, which is to be expected in the second year, even though the hardware is the same. You make some gains on the software, the controls and so on. So clearly we see qualifying that is even closer than last year. We still have a fast car and everything we enjoy, but it's not a given that because the car is good, we're always up there. You have to put your weekend together, as the others have said. So we have to work extra hard to make sure that we are delivering all the aspects of the weekend in a really good way. And then the last few races we haven't been the best, like in terms of either maximizing the pace of the car or some driver mistake, and also a bit of bad luck as it happens in racing. In Tokyo, for example, we were actually really looking really fast and qualifying at the end. Robin was going to the duels really easily with a big margin. But then he had cars spinning in front of him on his last lap and no yellow flag, so you slow down and you don't make the duel. So there's been a few things like this that really should have put us in a very different position. And if we had started in the top 8 in Tokyo or top 6, it would have been a very different race because our race pace was looking really good. So we need to get qualifying together and then move on. But also, as you said, we have a lot of races still coming up. And a lot of them will be very energy and temperature sensitive, which was not the case for the first few. So still a long way to go, and some races that will look very different to the last ones. So we just head down and deliver more podiums.
I mean, you said it there about the competition. The margins are always so small in Formula E, but it even feels like this season they're even smaller, they're even tighter. So any gain or luck or bad luck has huge consequences. So looking ahead to this weekend, we're back at a more traditional circuit, which obviously, as Cyril mentioned, comes with its energy demands. What sort of racing do you expect to see with this double header? And what sort of racing?
As I said a little bit, so last year when you have energy targets which are challenging, then you need to save energy. It's pretty obvious, and the way to do that is by not being first the entire race. So that's what we call the peloton racing. So you will see some of that because you have to manage your race. It's not a linear race, so you have to manage that. However, I couldn't exactly tell you what's going to happen in one. That would be too easy, but for sure there's going to be a pretty extreme level of energy saving, and therefore you see a big difference in pace throughout the race. So the efficiency of each car will play a role, but also where you are in the pack and how you're managing your strategy will be super important.
When I was speaking to the drivers on the track walk today, I asked them about comparison. Unanimously, they all said Portland. Now, happy memories from Portland last season. You got the strategy perfect that race. Do you feel confident that you can be the team that does that again here, or do you think the gap has been narrowed between you and the others?
Yeah, two aspects. Again, I think the overall field, the cars are getting closer in terms of performance and race pace. So that means it's a little bit harder to win, which makes sense. And second aspect is that I think one of the strengths of my team last year was that we were pretty quick and we got a good hang on the peloton races pretty early, and therefore we fine-tuned these race strategies with a bit of a head start compared to the other teams, I guess. Now again, as normal in motorsports, everyone's caught up, and therefore the advantage we have is less now because people understand it better. So still very confident that we have all the ingredients we need, 100%. We have the drivers, the car, strategy, everything we need, but everyone's closer together. So yeah, every little decision you make in the race has a much bigger impact than it used to. So yeah, we'll try to replicate the same, but everyone else will copy us as well.
Just one final question, based on the press release from the team yesterday or today, about just looking ahead to Berlin. What can you tell us about the difficulty as a team having to have two different drivers take place on a double-header race weekend?
Yeah, not ideal, obviously. We won't repeat the press release, but there's a battery wake happening as far, and my driver's preference, I believe, would have been to be in Formula E, but contracts say otherwise, so they'll go there, and therefore we make the most of that situation. So actually really keen to see how Joel and Paul get on. Expectations are in check very much, because for Joel's not a rookie, he's got still some catch up to do on Gen 3 racing, and Paul is very much a rookie. So two very fast drivers, and I'm always very excited to bring new drivers in the championship. We did it with Nick in a few years ago, and that worked out okay. So there's always really excited to bring some new exciting drivers in the championship. So that will be a fantastic real world test. Double header, 3 free practice sessions, a lot of track time for them. So we'll learn a lot as a team. The focus will be very much to get to know each other in terms of how they work and how the team and the drivers work together, and then see where we get to. Scoring points would be like a win. I think that's the expectation when you have drivers new to the championship. But we will learn an awful lot in the background for sure. So yeah, we'll make the most of it. It should be fun. Drivers are really excited, and there are some really fast young drivers out there who really want to be in Formula E, and I think that's a real positive.
And the first chance, or one of the first chances for some, second or third chance for others this afternoon in the rugby practice. Thank you very much, guys. A chance for a question from